What do you do when you have too many beets and you can't possibly cook them, eat them, freeze them, or can them? Well, you can dehydrate them, and that's what I'm gonna show you how to do today. Welcome to The Salted Pepper, where we cook for real life using real food and we keep it real simple. And today we're gonna dehydrate some beets. Now this might seem like a strange video to do. I mean, beets? Do we really have that many beets? Well, let me tell you, I went to a food auction in Pennsylvania with my mom and we bid on beets. And I did not really realize how many beets were in 4 bushels of beets. It was a ton. And I've been processing beets any which way I can think of. So I decided to start to dehydrate some, and the results were amazing. So these dehydrated beet chips are now vacuum sealed in a bag, shelf stable, because there's no moisture content left. Then I can reconstitute them in water in the refrigerator overnight, and they look just like sliced beets, okay? Or I can throw them into my pressure cooker, pressure cook them with a pickling liquid and turn them into pickled beets. And I'm gonna do a recipe for that as well because it's simply amazing and so easy. So this is a great way to preserve beets if you end up with bushels and bushels of them. The first thing you wanna do though is prepare your beets. And it might seem a little strange that I'm gonna tell you to cook your beets first, but it's a very important step in the process. Now, the easiest way to cook beets is to cook them whole, throw them into the basket of your pressure cooker, add 1 cup of water, pressure cook for 5 minutes, do an immediate release, run them under cold water or put them in a bowl of cold water, and simply use your hands to rub off the skins. It is so easy and quick. And then once we have the beets, and I'm gonna use 6 beets because that's about what will fit on my tray, so that's what I'm gonna process right now. And to slice them, I use a mandolin, okay? It's the easiest way to get a consistent thin slice, and you do want them to be on the thin side. So I set this for about 3 millimeters, which is about 1/8 of an inch or so. So it's a very thin slice. If you went a little bit thicker, you certainly could go a little thicker, but it's gonna take longer to dehydrate, but you don't want them too thick or they're just not gonna dehydrate correctly for you, or it's gonna take forever anyway. All right, and then instead of a guard, I don't want anyone to freak out, I'm being perfectly safe here. This is an anti-cut glove, which I love using, and it's gonna get all stained up with beet juice. Don't worry, I just bleach it, it's perfectly fine. And I use this to protect my hands. I also hold my hand in a certain angle, okay? So it's very important that you use safety precautions when you're using a mandolin because I have cut my finger before. It's not fun. All right, so now we've got a root end and a stem end. And I can just slice those off with the mandolin if I want to. Sometimes I don't even bother. And then just move those out here. And to slice, I like to slice on the long side, but you could slice this way too. Either way is fine. I just like a little bit longer of a chip, a dehydrated beet chip, so I do it this way. Then I keep my palm on the beet, but flat, okay? This way I'm not gonna accidentally get my finger down there. And I just use the mandolin. When I get down to about here, make 1 more slice and then I stop. Now this one's gonna be a little bit thicker. I could dehydrate it if I want, or I could put it over here and maybe make a beet soup or a beet puree out of the ends. You know, whatever you wanna do, it's perfectly fine. All right, so right away I'm just gonna start layering them on my dehydration racks. Now, the amount that you can do will depend on the dehydrator you're using. I'm gonna be using the XL oven because it gives me 4 layers and it works great for this. And since I have so many beets, I like to do a whole bunch at a time. They do take a while to dehydrate, so this is not a quick process. It's going to take about 16 to 24 hours depending on the thickness. I usually set it for 20 hours and mine have been done within that time frame. The good news is you do not need to flip, you do not need to do anything at all. Once you put the trays in, it is gonna be up to the dehydrator to do the work. All right, so now let's go ahead and get these trays into the oven here. I'm gonna put one down on the first level. which is a little tricky from this angle, but it's actually very easy to get in when you're looking at the oven. And then one on the third level here. Close that up, turn the oven on. We want to take the function to dehydrate. That's what we want. The temperature will be 130. That's what I found works really well for the beets. And the time will be 20 hours. Now remember, they can be done in 16. They might take even longer than 20 depending on how thick they are, but 20 hours is what I set them for. And then you can absolutely forget about them. Just let them go. And when we come back, they will be completely done. Hit start, and that's it. That's all you need to do to get your beets dehydrating. So it's been just a little over 20 hours, and I decided to check on the beets, and they are done. So we're gonna go ahead and get them out now. And I'm just gonna go ahead and turn this off. Now it's not going to be hot inside. You know, you can put on a glove if you want, but it's not going to be hot. All right, so slide the trays out. And I'll just set them on the counter here. And now our dehydrated beets are completely done. Okay? They are dry as dry can be. So what do you do with them now, right? Well, I like to, of course, take them off the rack. This one looks like it's stuck a little bit. So I just loosen them off the racks here, like this. All right, so once I have that layer, I will go ahead and dump this there. Now, some people dehydrate beet chips like this and eat them like this. Now, I don't like that at all. I use them for real beets, and I'm going to show you one of the things that I did with them. So let me finish this up. Then you want to put them into an airtight bag, and there's a couple of different ways that I do that, depending on what I think I'm going to use them for. Now, if you leave them out and you have a humid house, they will start to absorb that moisture. So you don't want to do that. You definitely want to get them off these trays and into a sealed container of some sort. What kind you use is totally up to you. I just usually use a freezer bag. What I usually do is just keep them on the shelf until I'm ready to reconstitute them. And if you wanted to make beet chips to actually eat, I do have a recipe for those as well. And that I use the air fryer for. And they are amazing. They are so good. All right, so then I just will either grab a Ziploc bag like this, which is a freezer bag, and put them in. And then get as much air out as you can. I just take them, push them down to the bottom, and then do a little roll here. Just try to squeeze out as much air as I can. Seal it up, and there we go. Dehydrated beets that you can reconstitute, and they are amazing. You can use them for sliced beets, you know, for a side dish. They work beautifully. You can also do something like this, which is put them in a vacuum seal bag. I do that as well. These are measured out into 1 cup portions. And the reason is because I like to make really quick beet pickles or pickled beets with eggs. And I use one of these each time. So let me show you what that looks like when they're reconstituted. Reconstituted dehydrated beets. I kid you not, okay? This is amazing. And I pickled them. And look at that. They are, oh my gosh. They are so good. They are so good. They taste just like fresh beets. Mmm. Simply amazing. Oh, and let me show you the egg too. I did the egg at the same time. I'm gonna do a recipe for that too. So I'll link to it below. So this is the pickled egg, and I did them at the same time. They're just simply amazing, very quick and easy. So if you grow beets and you have an abundance of beets, dehydrate them for use during the winter. They are amazing. You can put them into some cold water. You can let them sit in the refrigerator to reconstitute. You can pressure cook them for a few minutes to reconstitute. There's so many different ways, but they are amazing, really amazing.